Hey everybody, it's Christina Holloway here. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to walk you through a toolkit you can use to create motivation and engagement with your team and colleagues. Because this is a toolkit, make sure to check the description for links to the books, articles, and resources that accompany this video. And make sure to save it for future reference. Also, this year, I'm sharing 12 leadership metrics that will help you succeed in your career. This is pretty much a full framework for how to develop your skills to build your career. This month, we're talking about motivation and engagement. You can catch up on all the videos in the playlists on my YouTube channel. Everything is linked below in the description. Make sure to check it out. Real quick, if you enjoy this content and want to learn more about how to make power moves in your career, make sure to follow my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video from me. All right, so let's get started. Number 1, create balance with recognition and feedback. This whole video is going to be about how you create engagement with the people around you. That means you're going to be drawing them out towards you. Engagement is about people interacting with you to move something forward. Motivation is about giving them a reason to care about moving this thing forward. To do that, you want to create balance with recognition and feedback. Here's a guiding principle. Recognition should be done publicly. Make sure to congratulate people on a job well done, but also ask them what they enjoyed about the process. Recognition is about celebrating wins and acknowledging the good feelings so that the people around you understand that they're in an environment where they can feel celebrated for their contributions. Feedback, on the other hand, should be done privately. And no, you don't get to give constructive criticism. Criticism is not feedback. I have a video on that right here. If you're going to give feedback, start by using a coaching approach. That means asking questions about the choices that person made and why they made them. Then direct them into better decision making. This is a teaching approach, which helps them understand how to assess information and move forward more productively. If you're unsure how to balance recognition and feedback, use this questionnaire. For recognition, is the recognition measurable over time? Is the recognition tied to metrics and accomplishments related to a specific goal or project? Can the recognition be documented in a performance review? What are some ways you can formalize the process of recognition for the individual or the team? Examples include certificates of achievement or acknowledgement of levels of expertise. Where can you allow for recognition of exceptionally excellent work? What would that look like? Maybe a personal letter from the division head or a VP. For feedback, again, is it measurable over time? People need to feel like they're improving, especially when they're working on stretch goals or difficult deliverables. Is the feedback related to specific work output? Feedback cannot be about your opinion. Is the feedback related to an incident or conflict? Situation-specific feedback should include you wanting to hear their side of the story and then assessing how you're going to handle it together. Does the feedback help the person or team grow and learn? If not, you may not be giving feedback, you may just be criticizing, and that's not helpful. Is the feedback kind and direct while also providing a solution and a new direction for accomplishment? Make no mistake here, recognition and feedback are both about one thing: encouragement. Number 2, set clear and realistic goals. Here are some rules when it comes to setting goals for yourself or your team. Realistic goals help people succeed. You don't want to make the mistake of setting up goals that are too difficult and will set up your team for failure. Your job isn't to be the toughest boss out there. Your job is to drive your team and projects to success. If you're assigning stretch goals to anyone, then you need to be there with that person so they have support. Stretch goals should be done together. Make sure to back up your team when necessary and always keep a learning mindset. Setting and achieving goals is a learning process that you do together. If you're having a hard time developing clear and realistic goals, this exercise could help. When you have to determine goals for you or your team or a specific project, you want to stay inside these 2 guidelines. Goals should bend, but they shouldn't snap. Have I set goals that can be flexible without breaking the bigger objective? Pay attention to where your team struggles and fails versus where your team struggles and overcomes. Goals should lift people up, not tear people down. Have I set goals that will set people up for success? You don't want to make the goal so difficult that it's demoralizing. People like to associate themselves with excellence. If they're on a team that has big goals, but they're also set up to succeed with those goals, they'll give you their best efforts every time. And if you find that you're running projects that don't meet goals, or the people are not getting work done the way you want them to, and this happens to you a lot, you could be thinking that you just don't have good people. Well, that's not true. If you repeatedly miss objectives and the people around you are confused and overwhelmed, that's because you don't know how to lead them. I'm sorry, but it's true. Go back to the exercise and work on those goals until they're clearly defined. You'll know you're leading a productive team when they start achieving great results. Number 3, create a positive work environment. A positive work environment doesn't have to be fun and games. In fact, you may find that you have a team with mixed assumptions about work. Some people really want to create connection and friendship at work, and others really have a strict divide between their work environment and their home environment. And because of that, it really needs to be a positive place to work for everyone. That means you give connection to those who want it and you create space for those who don't. Here's how that works. Put together a template or a form that you can use to assess your team members. This works if you have an established team or if you have to create a new team for each project you lead. On that form or template, because you're going to use it over and over again, you want to create a list of the people on the team and how they work. On one side is the people who love to collaborate, brainstorm, think out loud. They process information verbally, and they find when they talk that they find their best ideas. That's one list. The other list is the group of people who are really quiet during meetings and discussions. They tend to process information internally. You may notice that they come to you after big calls and tell you that they've been noodling over the discussion and they have some ideas. Those people many times feel like they've missed out on contributing to the greater discussion because they're not verbal thinkers, they're process thinkers. To create a positive work environment for this mix of people, you want to allow both types of thinkers to thrive. That could mean that brainstorming sessions include an online workspace where people can keep contributing after the conversation. And most importantly, that you give room for both ends of the spectrum to coexist. Verbal thinkers especially need to understand that their way of contributing is not the only way to add value. Equally, process thinkers need to understand that there is room for them to contribute. If you make room for this one element, the different ways people think through problems, the engagement and creativity on your team will skyrocket. Number 4, offer learning and development opportunities. Again, this happens on a spectrum. There are some people who only want to know what their assignment is, and they want to be left alone to do that job. Figure out who those people are early and then make sure their needs are met so they can go about their business. For others, it's important to encourage a learning environment. But the other half of creating a learning environment allows team members to build their expertise or their technical knowledge and then contribute that knowledge as a form of growth with the team as a whole. You want them to continue to learn in their job and then welcome them to share what they've learned and apply these new concepts to their work and projects. This opens the team up to innovation, experimentation, and evolution. Allowing people to grow, build, and teach gives them more ways to contribute beyond meeting metrics. It gives them the opportunity to share and present new material as a way of keeping the team at the cutting edge of development. This one, by itself, is powerful. And for this, you'll need to create a worksheet where you can track the learning opportunities that you want to include with your team. You're not going to just allow everyone to go off and take training. It needs to be related to the work you're doing. In the worksheet, you want to include the industry standards that are relevant to the work you're doing for the year, the budget that's been approved for you to use, and training opportunities that are out there. That includes certificates, workshops, continuing education credits, seminars, or even online programs. It could be anything related to the work you're doing. Then, itemize the people on your team and play around with assigning some of these opportunities. Those assignments should be related to each person's career goals and development. Once they've attended the event, they have the opportunity to share learnings with the team. This is the second half of learning and development that I think is really important to having people feel valued at work. Tell me what you learned and how that's going to help us do our jobs better or more effectively. How will your learning help the team as a whole? Where can we implement these new frameworks on upcoming projects? This level of contribution does two things. One, it helps people develop teaching and coaching skills. And two, it creates a problem-solving environment that allows for more than just do your work and go home. Because when it comes to motivation and engagement, that's what people want. They want to know that they're working towards something that has value, but also allows them to create value from themselves in that environment. And that's the whole point. All right, so that's it for my video on using a motivation toolkit to help you create engagement with your team. If you have examples of how you created motivation and engagement at work, feel free to share them in the comments below. I would love to hear about them. And if you enjoyed watching this video and you found it helpful, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up by hitting that like button and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you never miss another video from me. Next month is all about managing conflict, and you really don't want to miss that. And if you'd like to learn more about how to be seen as a leader at work, make sure to check out my video on the 7 power moves you can do right now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.